Okay, so this is the Classical Conversations curriculum. I am very OCD about how I organize things. So these are all the tabs. So we have cycle 1, 2, and 3. The cycle that we did this past year is cycle 2. And so they learn all of these different facts. So we learned from medieval to modern times, and they learned many, many, many different facts. And this is how your week will look at. So this is week 1, week 2, and they go all the way like that until week 24. And so they learn different multiplication tables every single week. So for week 1, they learned 1 and 2, and then Latin, conjugation endings. They learn a science fact, parts of speech in English this is week 1, and then the first part of the timeline, a history fact, geography, and then in Community Day, we will have an additional time period that is spent on fine arts and science. So for fine arts, they learn to draw, and they will learn about artists, and they will learn about how to play a tin whistle and things like that. And then they will go on to science, and they'll have a couple science experiments where they get to actually do a hands-on science experiment, and they do that weekly. Also, a part of CC is they present every single week. So they have a presentation where they bring something from home and they address it and they talk about it to their classmates. This is a remarkable thing that I think CC has implemented into their Community Day, because it allows kids to get comfortable with public speaking at such an early age, so that when they get older, that they're not as afraid of it. I personally, if you are interested in CC, even if you have a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old, look into their website and try to find a Windows Into challenge, or talk with a challenge director that's in your community, in your area, and see if you can speak with them or some of their students. Challenge kids are absolutely remarkable when it comes to public speaking and just being able to speak eloquently. So this is our CC curriculum, and that's basically it. I mean, this is what you have. And so you would have this, and you would go over that every single week. Or not every single week, but there's a different one for every single week. And then in CC, there is a tutor which models for you as the teacher of how it should be done in your home every week. However, you are the teacher. So if you find that something might work a little bit better for your student than what they do in class, by all means, you switch it to how your child learns best. If you have any other questions about CC, please leave it in the comments below, and we'll move on. Okay, so this is Ray's Arithmetic. If you buy the books, it's going to have a, sorry, I use a rubber band as my placeholder. If you buy the books, there is a parent-teacher book that walks step by step of how to use Ray's Arithmetic and where to go from there. This is a great curriculum for our family. I know other families, they don't care for it, but like I said before, math is my strong suit, so I wasn't too worried about math. I needed something as far as language goes that would tell me what to say and when to say it and how to say it. But math, I love math, so I was very excited about teaching it to my kids. But you start out with counting. So you start counting how many balls, and they won, and so forth. They keep going. And then once you get past that lesson, then they start spelling every number from 0 to 100, okay? And then they have to read the numbers. This doesn't seem like it would be beneficial, but it actually is. Because later on, if they can read the different ones and they know what number it's referring to. With Ray's Arithmetic, I would recommend to do it until mastery. So if on lesson 1 they can do that, that's great. Well, then on lesson 2, 3, 4, they start struggling with spelling them. Don't stop until they master it. I think with my 6-year-old, it took us, she was 5 when we started this, but it took us probably a month and a half to master how to spell all of these. So I would continue to do it until mastery, because once they master it and they go further in the book, it's going to make things a lot easier for them. You start out with addition in this book, and so then they teach you like the memory math, so they memorize that, and then they can go through here and it gives you different scenarios, or not scenarios, but worded math problems, and they should be able to do it mentally, mental math, when you get through there. If you have questions about this, just drop it in the comments below. Okay, so this past year, like I said, my little girl wanted to learn about cursive, and so I taught her in cursive. We use Handwriting Without Tears. I like it because it's really gentle. It breaks things down. It's easy to teach them. And once they get started and they can read, they can sort of go through go through there themselves, and then just ask for questions. And so in the beginning, you'll just start with them, and they'll write the letters out. Like I said, we use these, and I would literally copy as it is in the book, and then she would take her pencil and go to the right of it and copy what she needed to. And all they do is just copy work, and it shows them exactly how to do things. So we would just probably do 1 or 2 of these a day, and till she was writing things together. Now she enjoys writing things in cursive all the time, but it gets more and more in depth as you go. So then you're writing like full sentences by the end. This next year we will be writing using Handwriting Without Tears, but we'll be doing a print for my 4-year-old as well as my 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old. So if you have questions about the Handwriting Without Tears, just let me know. So now I'm going to tell you guys about one of my favorite curriculums, and that is All About Spelling. All About Spelling has really, really, really helped my 6-year-old, almost 7-year-old, learn to read. She can read pretty well for her age, and we basically have always done phonics. She has learned the phonetic alphabet more so than the actual alphabet, and this program, or this curriculum, it just makes it more cement. Like, it just brings it more into perspective for her, and it taps into her different senses. So she's, a lot of times through this entire book, it gives the opportunity to spell things, read things, use the magnets to spell things out so they're more tactile, and you can just do so many things with this program. This program tells you exactly how to word it, what to do with it, and you don't need anything extra with this program. And so I like it because I don't have to go outside of it. I don't have to figure out how to teach it. It tells me how to teach it. And the further you go into it, it keeps doing the exact same thing. So like on this, you would put these little tiles on the board, and you would put the M tile and the T tile, and then she would have to you would say, build the word mat. And she would have to find the A just by using her phonetic alphabet to find out what goes in between there. Again, this is one of my absolute favorites because there are spelling rules that I had no clue about. No clue. And so I learned just along with her. If you have questions all about spelling, just let me know and I'll be happy to answer them. All right, so my next curriculum that we used was first language lessons for the well-trained mind. We were on level 1 this year. I think we actually might redo level 1 this coming year. Like I said, she's 6, getting ready to be 7. So she's still very young. And I think we might just do it all over again so that it comes a little bit easier for her when we move on to level 2, because we still have the extra time to do it. So first language lessons for the well-trained mind. If you have not read this book, it's a great book. I think it's just called The Well-Trained Mind. But it's a guide to classical education. So it's step by step, like just everything that you would want to know, need to know for classical education. And so this one has 100 lessons, and they are very simple. They are very gentle. And it starts off with what you need to say, and then how to encourage your student to say what they would need to say in order to answer what you asked correctly. So, for example, on this one, it said for lesson 1, it says, we will talk about persons first. You are a person. Are you a boy or a girl? So then usually your student would say girl or boy, but you encourage them to say I am a, so they're answering it in a full sentence. And it's just making good habits when communicating, when writing, just in language altogether. And then as we go on, it just gets into more in-depth things, but they're pretty short lessons, and it will still continue to tell you what to say and what your students should be answering. It also has a lot of poetry to be memorized. It's just a good curriculum all the way around. If you have questions about that, let me know.